Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Weekly Video Blitz, courtesy of ChronicleT.com and AM 930 WEOL. Tim Alcorn, along with Matt Douglas. And yes, once again, behind the camera, Matt, we've got Kristen Bauer, Bruce Bishop from the Chronicle Telegram out covering breaking news. So when there's breaking news, Bruce is all over that. So we're going to be working once again with Kristen this week, although once again, she's going to be bashful. She's not going to say anything.
Sure, we'll miss those sweet tones of Bruce Bishop behind the camera speaking into the microphone, but always good to have Kristen in. She's that good. Second, it's like Clemson football here. We've got the second string QB in to take us to victory this week.
All right, well, let's get into the real gist of the conversation during the Weekly Video Blitz, and that's high school football. And boy, Matt, we are down to one. We're down to one team in Lorain County as far as unbeaten through 6 weeks of the year. The Shoremen from Avon Lake. Congratulations goes out to their team and head coach Matt Kostelnik. They are now 6-0 on the year, although North Ridgeville gave them quite a tussle last Friday night.
That's what North Ridgeville does, man. They're one of those tough teams in the SWC. Don't look at the record when you're playing against the Rangers because they bring it. They absolutely did in this game. Picked off Jack Mikulich 2 times in the game. But what I love about Avon Lake, and one of the reasons they're undefeated at this point, if teams have had success doing what they want to do. North Ridgeville had 240 yards rushing, I believe it was, against Avon Lake this week. You would call that success. That's what they wanted to establish, and Avon Lake still finds ways to win in those games. They've done it rushing. They've done it passing this season. Cole Schraff had 3 touchdown receptions this week for Avon Lake. So they're a team that, regardless of what you figure out against them, they adjust, they come back at you, they get the victory. That's why right now they're 6-0.
And they've got a tough test this Friday night as they go to Amherst to take on the Comets, who fell from the ranks of the unbeaten last Friday night. We talked about the huge showdown game, Amherst over at Olmsted Falls, and hey, you have to tip your cap to the Bulldogs. They shut down that high-powered Amherst offense led by Kennedy Scaglioso, but they were able really to limit his yardage and limit Amherst, and so Amherst now drops to 5-1. Not a lot of time to lick their wounds and mourn that defeat. They've got to get ready for the unbeaten Shoremen.
Yeah, look, Amherst is still a very scary team. Avon Lake Shoremen fans, you can't look past this Comets team. Kennedy Scaglioso going into last week already had 1,000 yards rushing. He had 18 touchdowns, 17 rushing going into that game against Olmsted Falls. Of course, the Bulldogs were able to keep him out of the end zone and held him to 85 yards, but that probably makes him a little bit angry. I'd be a little careful if you're a Shoreman fan because that's a guy who certainly knows how to run the ball and one of the top running backs, and so is Connor Riggs for that matter in the SWC. So 2 great running backs on Friday night. Yes, please.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that game a little bit later on during the Blitz because we've tweaked our schedule a little bit on WEOL for Friday. So we'll talk about that game a little bit further, a little bit later in the video. And then, Matt, one more game we have to talk about as far as last Friday was concerned, a game that everybody was talking about late Friday night and early Saturday morning. How about the Keystone Wildcats down by 23 points at the half at Black River? They're on the road, and they rallied to beat Black River over on Black River's home field. Just a phenomenal comeback, an incredible game played by this very young Wildcat team to rally and get that victory.
Yeah, an unbelievable rally. As you mentioned, down 20-plus points going into the half. Jacob Shackelford took over the game for the Keystone Wildcats, had over 200, I believe it was 60 yards rushing, 168 through the air as well. He got the job done.
Yes.
He said, hey, guys, jump on my back. We're going to get this one figured out. The defense stepped it up, too. Only 1 Black River touchdown in that second half after they scored 30-plus points in the first half. So just a tremendous team effort by that Keystone Wildcats team to come away with a victory. And that's one of those games that's fun to talk about because there were all kinds of things happening in it.
Yeah, we had Coach Griswold on Saturday morning on WEOL, and I think he was still up on cloud 9. Just an incredible win for the Keystone Wildcats. Well, that's a nice segue into our Orthopaedic Associates Plays of the Week because there were some huge plays in that Keystone game. And so we're going to do something a little bit different during this week's Orthopaedic Associates Play of the Week, or Plays of the Week. We each have a Play of the Week, and I get to go first, but it's going to involve the exact same player. So you mentioned Jacob Shackelford. What a ball game he had for the Keystone Wildcats. My Orthopaedic Associates Play of the Week. Keystone, as we mentioned, was down 23 at the half. They put together this incredible second-half rally, and yet they're still trailing with under a minute to go, and Jacob Shackelford rips off a 44-yard touchdown run with 43 seconds to go in the ball game, and that lifts Keystone to the victory. The game-winning touchdown for Shackelford, just an unbelievable effort by him, not only on that play, but in the entire game. You alluded to the numbers that he put up. But my Orthopaedic Associates Play of the Week, the game-winning touchdown using his legs by quarterback Jacob Shackelford for the Keystone Wildcats. Just an unbelievable play. But not only did he use his legs.
Yeah, well, I'm going to piggyback off you. Jacob Shackelford was my play of the week as well in the fourth quarter. Game tight. He's able to lead his team down the field, and he uses his arm to initially go up on the Black River Pirates. Throws it 33 yards through the air, finds Mike Molesky in the end zone. This initially gives the Keystone Wildcats their first lead of the ball game. Again, in the fourth quarter, a crucial play. And Jacob Shackelford was getting the job done. Now, Black River did come back and answer that and eventually takes the lead back over before eventually Jacob Shackelford gets back into the end zone for Tim's Orthopaedic Associates Play of the game. But that's mine. I mean, when you're throwing the ball the way he was, running the ball he was, it's unbelievable. But initially, he got that job started with that pass play to Mike Molesky for 33 yards. Again, my Orthopaedic Associates Play of the game.
Wow. Talk about the leadership of Shackelford. Does it with his arm to give them the lead. As you said, Black River comes back, they score, they take the lead, and then he does it with his legs to give Keystone the victory. Just an amazing night by Jacob Shackelford. So, again, congratulations to him. Matt, I don't know if we'll ever have the same player get the play of the week as far as our Orthopedic Associates segment is concerned.
Yeah, it's rare, but I mean, that's how good a game Jacob Shackelford was playing. I mean, if we had 3 or 4 people here, we might have been able to continue that list because he had 5 touchdowns in the game when all was said and done.
Yeah, unbelievable performance. All right, well, we've mentioned Orthopedic Associates, and, of course, our other sponsor, as far as the weekly video blitz is concerned, is our title sponsor, Lorain County Community College. And as the video rolls behind Matt Douglas and me, you're looking at the Core Center over at the Student Center in Lorain County Community College. As far as the Commodore Books and More is concerned, it's an Apple-authorized center. Anything and everything Apple-wise is in that center. Just a real benefit as far as the students who attend Lorain County Community College.
Yeah, really cool. Andy Bolbarch and myself actually had the opportunity to do a show from there not too long ago. And when you take a look in there, they've got all the Apple products, and I believe they have the ability to help you fix it if you want something installed and you need help with something on that tablet, on that Apple computer. They've got the ability to help you out with that as well. So that's a place I would be a frequent visitor to if, again, I had that Apple product. And I think the beauty of it, too, is you can come from outside the college, too, if you need help and ask them for assistance, and they're more than willing to give you help.
That's where I bought my headphones from.
Is it?
Oh, man,
Very
they
nice.
sound really, really good. So, yeah, head on over to the Core Center there in the Student Center as far as Lorain County Community College is concerned. All right, Matt, as we pivot and talk about Week 7, one of the things that certainly everybody takes a peek at now, the Ohio High School computer rankings, still teams that have a lot of playoff hopes on the line. You're talking Avon Lake, Amherst, Clearview, Columbia. So there's teams that still are very much alive as far as the playoff chase is concerned. Elyria Catholic, to name another.
Yeah, without a doubt. And Elyria Catholic's got some big games coming up. They've got Normandy coming ahead. They've got Holy Name. They've got Bay. So, I mean, some games, if they can come away with victories, then they can put themselves in a good position for the postseason. You mentioned Clearview and Columbia, 2 teams playing each other this week. They both need wins if they want to be sure to make into the postseason. So you've got 2 teams who are hungry for victories there. And you mentioned the SWC, as good as it's been. Amherst is intriguing. They've got Avon Lake. Avon's still on the schedule. A lot of people think they've got to get at least one of those if they want to make it into the postseason this year.
I'm one of those people.
Yeah, I think I might fall into that category as well. They certainly have the talent to get a victory in one of those 2 games. I'll say that for sure. And then, of course, Avon Lake and Avon, who in the most recent AP polls are both in there Avon Lake, I believe that 5-seed team. Avon's moved up to 8th this week, so two very impressive teams. And I know Olmsted Falls is in there on the bubble too, so some good games coming up for Avon Lake because they still have O Falls and Amherst ahead on the schedule. So some big tests for them as they head down the stretch.
Well, that SWC is such a grind. I mean, it is a battle week in and week out. And if you make the playoffs out of the SWC, you've earned your right to postseason play. Well, that kind of leads us right into what we're going to be doing this Friday as far as AM 930 WEOL is concerned. The Indians and the Astros start time cooperated with us. We were a little bit nervous about what might happen with them as far as interrupting our high school football coverage, but they've got a 2 o'clock game on Friday afternoon. By the way, you can hear that game on WEOL, the Tribe and Astros Game 1. But as far as our high school football coverage is concerned, everything stays the same. And what a huge night we have. You mentioned Clearview and Columbia. That's our radio game. The Raiders will go over to Tom Hoke Field over at Clearview. A lot of playoff points on the line. A huge showdown game in the Patriot Athletic Conference. It should just be outstanding. And then, Matt, we referenced that we've tweaked our schedule a little bit. We flexed it. We're going to pick up that big showdown game in the SWC between Avon Lake and Amherst.
Yeah, I alluded to it earlier. Connor Riggs, the running back for Avon Lake, he's done some serious damage to teams this season. Big-time rusher, Kennedy Scaglioso. Everybody knows his name at this point. I mean, that's the guy they like to give the ball to in Amherst. So offensive lines, they're going to be busy on Friday night. And fans of the running game, you're going to be delighted to see this one. It's going to be a treat for you because it's two of the best running games in the SWC and in Northeast Ohio alone.
That's going to be an old throwback SWC game with those running backs. And then our Tri-C Medina County matchup, I'll tell you what, this is going to be a great game as well. We've got 3 outstanding games on Friday night. But that Medina County matchup will feature Black River coming off that real tough loss to Keystone. They're not going to be happy, and they've got a tough one as they take on the Buckeye Bucks. So you talk about 3 great games we'll have covered on Friday night. Columbia Clearview, Avon Lake Amherst, Black River Buckeye.
Yeah.
Big night.
Well, you mentioned playoff implication. I mean, Buckeye's another one of those teams that is looking to make it to the postseason, and Black River, that's one of those teams that can be an upset team or a trap team, so to speak, for teams. They've played some good games, got a come from behind victory against Fairview earlier this year, and fell just a little bit short against Keystone last week. So you can bet they're a little bit angry. They want to get back on the field and prove they can get a victory. So I'm looking forward to that one too.
I think it's going to be a fun Week 7. All right, well, speaking of a fun Week 7, this was a fun Week 7 video blitz.
Enjoyable, yes.
Even though we didn't hear from Kristen, but she did a great job behind the camera.
Thanks, Kristen.
So I guess that's going to do it. Kristen, great big thank you to you. We do appreciate it. Matt Douglas, thanks to you. Again, thanks to Lorain County Community College and Orthopaedic Associates for sponsoring our program from the Chronicle Telegram Studios. And for Kristen and Matt, this is Tim Alcorn saying we'll talk to you again next week. So long, everybody.